What's going on, guys? It's Paper, cut to you, and today I want to bring you guys a video about my setup and a real game changer that recently happened. And it's actually happening right now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, just keep watching, because this is a move that was previously not open to me because of my current setup. So I'm going to tell you guys more about my setup, but first I want to show you what the real game changer is, and I'm about to do it here. This lead up just takes a little bit longer so you guys can really take it in. Plus it gave me enough time to actually think about it because it's very hard to do because of what I'm accustomed to. So let's just watch this real quick and you guys are going to see the move again, and let me know if you guys see it. It's right there. I got a new Elite controller, and for the first time ever, I actually set up two paddles on one side. Because the new Elite controller version 2 actually comes with smaller paddles, which allows me to do this. I found that before, the paddles were just too big and I would be hitting both of them. It would be very uncomfortable with my hands. You really had to keep your fingers there. But on the Series 2, I don't find this to be the problem just because the paddles are so much smaller. It seems more comfortable and it actually seems doable to me now. I know a lot of my friends actually had the same setup as I did. We only ran one paddle on each side. Didn't matter if it was top or bottom. You could actually, it almost felt the same just because of how big the paddles were anyways. So that's how I used to do it. You guys saw my previous build when I was showing my controller, and then my new one. So what I did used to do, for those that didn't catch it, is I pretty much made a bumper jumper setup. My left bumper was my jump because I found that I always needed to jump, but obviously the problem is that your left trigger is also your aimer, so you can't be jumping and aiming at the same time. And in Titanfall, it wasn't really super needed. That's why I found that I could get away with not using it, because most of the guns you do use off the hip anyways. But with a gun like the R101, which is again a top tier gun, adding that to your bag where you can actually be sliding plus aiming and shooting all at the same time without sacrificing a button is a big game changer. I had to actively think about it so hard in order to do this. This is me just jumping into a custom match because I wanted to kind of just experience what it felt like. And the thing is, it's almost like trying to write with your other hand. So the question really also comes down to, is it worth learning? That's where I'm at right now. I actually haven't had a chance to play too much lately. I actually hurt my back at work, so I haven't been able to sit down very long. Like, it's already starting to stiffen up. But I definitely wanted to get a video out, so that's why I'm here, just roughing it up. I'll probably take a break in the next couple of minutes. That's how bad it's actually been. But back to this new setup. So my bumper jumper is still as it is, but on the right hand I added now the aimer. So I also use it to slide on my right hand, on my right paddle, and now the top one will also be an aimer. At first I tried to compensate by adding the jump button on my left paddle, so if I was aiming already, then if I needed to jump I could go into my left paddle. So it kind of just gives me two options for when I'm aiming and jumping, pretty much. And now at one point I thought maybe I should disable my left trigger so I can really get accustomed to aiming with my right paddle, which I really do think is a worthwhile investment. By the way, this is the first game I had with my new controller, but I was not using that new setup yet. So this was still my previous setup. This was more so just to kind of test the sticks and see how my accuracy was, which was pretty good, I'd say. I also hadn't played for a few days because you guys probably know from my last videos that I said I was going to take a break before I get my new controller, so that's what I did. I also have two paddles on the right side because, again, I was like, oh, okay, let me see if I can actually keep two paddles on this time, but they were both set to crouch, so sometimes I was a little bit awkward because I was crouching without meaning to, because my finger was just naturally resting on two crouch buttons. At the beginning of this video, before I got into this game, you guys saw me just kind of go around the map trying to get used to it. And one of the things that threw me off was that when you're aiming down sights and you start crouch jumping, or however you want to put it, bunny hopping, your gun doesn't tilt anymore. And that's not something that I'd ever really seen because I'd never actually been able to bunny hop and aim at the same time. For PC people, you're probably like, yeah, it's just another day. But on console, you just don't see that. And part of the reason is that you don't always really have to. Like, you can get away. Like, I was playing good with the R101 before I was ever able to do a bunny hop and aim at the same time. But that's not that I don't see the benefits. Like, the benefits are unreal. Like, this is definitely something that I want to explore more. But it really does, like, boggle my mind trying to switch from a button that I've used consistently for over 10 years, right? It's probably closer to 20 years that I've been using the left trigger to aim on an original Xbox or whatever it's been. So this definitely goes back a long way. So it's going to be a huge change, but like I said, I really see the benefits. So that's definitely going to be my new setup. How long it takes me to get used to it, well, that's another story. And I really don't want to give up on it because it's hard to do, because again, I just see the benefits and I think it would be really good. Now in Titanfall and like other games, I've always talked about setting up your controller to kind of hit all those priorities. And now I don't think like I actually have to make a sacrifice, because even in Call of Duty, it's like what did I want on my paddle? Did I want the jump or did I want the crouch button so I could lay down and do like the drop shots? Usually you want to judge it out based on what you really need to use more. But with this new controller, I just really feel like I don't have to settle. So that's what I'm going to be working with. It's something else to be able to do this on console. It really is a brand new experience to me. And I think a lot of people that use paddles on a controller, I don't think many people actually use two. I think most people are like myself. It seemed way too crowded down there. But now it's not. So I am definitely going to try to make that transition. And hopefully you guys are just going to be able to see better gameplay from me, because there definitely has to be something to be able to jump at the same time as you're aiming. That just wasn't possible. Anybody that's using the regular setup is definitely hitting that roadblock as well. If you don't have an elite controller, like you even have it worse. If you are using an elite controller, I'd really be interested in hearing how you use your paddles, if you're somebody that actually already uses all four. Like the jump on my left side, I don't find is going to be too useful on my paddles, because I'm already using my grapple so much. If I have another button that I have to activate right there with that finger, I just don't think it's going to happen. That's why I settled with instead changing the aimer to the right paddle, because the crouch button is a lot easier to use, especially when you're using hold to crouch like I am. You just hold it down. It's pretty easy to get used to that, and then still being able to hit a button instead of having to tap buttons as much on the left side. So that's how I made my decision. You guys can obviously make the decision yourself on what you guys find more comfortable. But I think in the end, you're really trying to just get between comfort and necessity. Each game is going to be different. I like that this controller actually has three. I now have 3 custom setups I can set up versus the old 2. Is it 3 or 4? I'm not too sure. No, it's 3. But it's definitely a controller that feels very tight. I also put on the tension, the extra tension. Ooh, nice. I put the extra tension on the sticks as well, which I think makes a nice difference in comparison to my old one. However, I did find that there was a little bit of dead space where the controller doesn't do anything, and I remember that was actually one of the reasons I originally gave up my first Elite controller, because it had all this wiggle where no actions were actually happening. I wasn't going forwards, and that's when I find that a controller is getting old. So that's definitely not something that I want. Oh, that was almost nice. That's definitely something I don't want to see in a brand new controller, so I still have to practice it. I actually only had the opportunity to play it the day I made this, which was already a few days ago. And there goes my back starting up again. Alright, give me a moment. I need to stretch and I'll be right back. Okay, so big game changer. And I'm going to be working on pretty much getting my game on, hopefully in the next little bit. I don't know how long this is going to last. That's why I haven't been on Twitch either, guys, because I just will not be able to sit long enough to do that. To be honest, half hour is probably my limit right now. I'm already on some meds, muscle relaxants. I've actually taken some time off work, but I'm probably going to go back on modified. This is going to be rough. I'll be honest, this is probably the worst injury I've ever had. So I'm definitely going to take it slow, because I don't want this to happen again. Because let me tell you, the first day was super rough. I didn't even know what was happening. I just never felt a pain like that. It just kind of kept gradually building until it just kind of seemed to like let go. Oh, but anyways, we will get the Twitch going back up again, and then I'm going to start pumping out the videos again, because I have to play in order to make new videos, right? But I do have the ideas of what I want to share, so once we do get going, it should all just kind of pick up again like we left off the last 2 weeks. We were definitely getting a lot of content, so I want to get back into that. Man, I swear I booted this guy way too many times for one game. But yeah, overall, you know what? I just really want to play with the controller more. I'm staring at it and it's barely had any use. This is craziness. I thought I was going to be doing some marathons with it, but it all just came up at the wrong time. But I'm going to be listing all my settings at the bottom so you guys can kind of just talk about that. My sensitivity, I don't think is anything special. I just use standard 4:4. I don't do anything weird with the response curves in the options for the controller or anything like that. I did turn on the trigger guards for this, which I've always thought are pretty nice. I do think that makes a difference. It's a fraction of a second, but all that makes a difference when you're gaming. But if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to ask in the comments section. I don't think there's too much left of this game. But it's kind of funny, when I was trying to change, because this is honestly going to be super rough, I'm going to try to make the change before I start streaming. I'm kind of sad I haven't had a chance to practice it more. Sometimes it's nice to just have a game or two, actually, if you're going to try a different setup, so you don't get frustrated and you let the muscle memory build up on its own. Like, I'm actually contemplating just throwing it on for one game, not using my left trigger, so I can get used to using the other paddle to aim, and that should pretty much do it for me. And then my body should just start adjusting gradually instead of trying to push it too much in one game. Because I know that as soon as I made that change, the first 2 games were ridiculously hard, and I was forcing myself to not shoot off the hip. But sometimes I would just start jumping or spamming my grapple. Like, it just ruins all my other buttons as well. It's a good way to like melt your brain. It's just so hard to break out of a habit that you've done for so long. Readjusting yourself to use a different button to aim, which is the same in every game. It's not like just a Titanfall thing, it's every game uses that button. For me to suddenly change, it's a huge difference. But that's what we're going to be working on, and who said that change is easy, right? It's hard. I told you guys about persevering, so I'm going to do the same thing myself. I'm just going to try to persevere. I'm going to try to push through this. I can't push through this back pain, though. That's definitely not a good idea. But I am doing some stretches, because I really want to get back to where I was. This is not how I like to live. And I feel so bad for my wife, because she has to do so much around the house right now, and I'm just out of commission. Like, I can't even play with my son right now. It sucks. Like, this is awful times. So I'm hoping that this is not going to be like a huge injury. It is starting to feel better, but my endurance is so bad right now. It's crazy. Okay, I think I got some rough days ahead. Pity party for me right now. Give me at least 5 seconds. Okay. We can get through this. I know we can. I did have x-rays, by the way, so I did already get checked out. That's how I got my meds and all that stuff. So they said it's just a bad pull. Like, the muscles were just so rigid. But I'm going to have to go into like modified work, which sounds nice, but is not nice, because it sucks. You know, I just want to do what I do, not... you always feel like you're working the system. I don't know why, and I feel bad about that, but I shouldn't. I literally got injured on the job. Not like I'm trying to like milk the system. I'm literally just... I'm useless. And it sucks, man. I can't bear to be this useless. It's a terrible feeling. I guess I wasn't done venting. I really needed to get it out. But really, guys, I am going to get back on this YouTube thing as soon as everything kind of stabilizes with me, alright? So if you guys do want to add anything, you know, throw it in the comment section. Like I said, I will put my whole setup in the comment section. I'll put it in the description so you guys can see, and then we can kind of just talk about it. And then I can also give you guys my views on this controller, even though, like, just from picking it up, like, this is definitely, it's better than my old one. It feels better, and the paddle thing is just a huge difference. His teammates came. They weren't having any of this. By the way, I have the most hilarious game. I don't want to ruin it though. But we're almost done with this video, and I want to just show you guys so much more. I'm sorry this went by so fast, but my back is actually happy it did. But again, thank you all for joining me, guys. This has been Paper. Cut to you. And I'll see you all next time. I went right through him. I don't know if I'm running extended megs. If I'm not, I should be. And if I am, I just have bad aim. I thought this Elite controller was supposed to aim for me. Come on, why did I pay all that money for it? There we go. Spitfire? Oh yeah! Oh, I'm panicking instead of just taking my time figuring out where it's coming from. That's what I get for picking up a Spitfire, eh? Serves me right.